This is a question that has kept me up at night. What if machines could think like humans? Could they feel emotions, have opinions, make decisions? Are we creating the next generation of superintelligence, or are we playing God? Who started it, and why? Early sci-fi stories like Frankenstein by Mary Shelley imagined a world where artificial beings question their existence. But it was Alan Turing, a British mathematician, who first envisioned machines that could think. They had developed incredibly advanced technology, but it was all for war. Computers were large, expensive, and not very powerful by today's standards. But the government was eager to fund research into artificial intelligence because it could be used to build better weapons systems and perhaps even win the hearts and minds of the public. In the late 1990s, a new player entered the game, Google. This is essentially a more advanced form of machine learning that allows machines to learn from unstructured data such as text or images. Each of them had their own approach to AI, but they all shared one common goal: to build machines that could learn. Stephen Hawking once said, "The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race." What happens when machines learn to think like humans? What if they become too smart, too independent, too dangerous? These are the questions that keep me up at night. And as always, thanks for watching. It would take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans who are limited by slow biological evolution couldn't compete and would be superseded. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, has been particularly vocal about the potential benefits of AI. He believes that AI could help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, from curing diseases to fighting climate change. This breakthrough allowed Google to develop new products and services that were powered by AI. For example, their search engine became much better at understanding what people were looking for. Their email service started to filter out spam messages, and their Maps service became more accurate. They had lots of money and, even more importantly, lots of data. This allowed them to pursue new and bigger goals. No longer were they just trying to make machines that could think. They wanted machines that could learn. After all, who wouldn't want a machine that could think? Among them were some of the brightest minds in the world, people like John McCarthy, who would coin the term artificial intelligence. There was Marvin Minsky, a cognitive scientist who would help develop some of the earliest AI programs. We had robots that could walk and talk and even serve coffee. But behind the scenes, things were not going so well. As the competition with the Soviets intensified, so did the pressure to produce results. But the machines were not getting smarter. They were still just following their programming. So the government pulled the plug and AI research went into a decline. And then there was Arthur Samuel, a pioneer in machine learning. These men would lay the foundation for everything that would come after. What would they do with it now? How could they stay ahead of each other? By pursuing this new frontier, exploring the unknown. In 1950, he proposed the idea of a machine that could learn from experience and adjust its behavior accordingly. He called it a digital brain. After World War II, the US and the Soviet Union began racing to build bigger and better machines. In 1956, a group of scientists met at a summer conference at Dartmouth College to discuss the possibility of creating thinking machines. But it wasn't easy. In the beginning, progress was slow. By the 1980s, AI was everywhere. It was in the news, in the movies, in our homes. But this didn't last for long. It was around this time that we started hearing about a new technique called deep learning. But Google wasn't the only one. Around this time, a new breed of tech giants emerged, companies like OpenAI, Tesla, and Facebook. However, others are not so optimistic. They worry that AI will eventually become uncontrollable and pose a threat to humanity. So, who's in control now? The big companies, the governments, or the people? Is AI really as smart as we think it is? But one thing is for sure, AI started as a dream. But whose dream is it now? If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more updates on AI and other emerging technologies.